What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about the Louisville Extreme Park, which is a feature film documentary that I recently shot and edited, and it's about the 3 consecutive nights of gun violence that took place downtown at the Dave Armstrong Extreme Park located in Louisville, Kentucky, and it kind of follows the aftermath of that. The documentary is about an hour and 17 minutes long. It's essentially a compilation of different interviews that I took from people that go to the skate park and whatnot. You get, primary people talking, you've got counterpoints, you've got B-roll footage of actual shooting footage that I was able to obtain from one of the victims. I was able to interview Noah from Home Skate Shop, which is a very well-known person, and Home Skate Shop is one of the it's a staple in skating in Louisville for sure. Everybody knows about the shop, just about. A lot of people go there. They do a lot for the skate park. And then you also have Hawthorne, which is one of the people that runs No Comply. No Comply is a rock concert that happens every year. I think they're trying to do more shows now, but they're known for doing like indie bands and whatnot, people that aren't very well known. So that's essentially what the documentary is about. It's about skate culture at its finest, but at the same time it kind of follows, the city responded to these 3 consecutive nights of gun violence by shutting down the park after 11 p.m., which is really not great because, if you guys haven't been to Louisville before, it gets really, really hot here. We're talking over 90 degrees with over 60% humidity. It gets wildly hot here. And it's just, I'm not saying it's the worst in the world, but it definitely feels terrible, and there's no way you can safely skate in that kind of condition. There are water fountains there, but they cut off the water fountains because homeless people were bathing in them. There used to be bathrooms there, but they welded the bathroom doors shut, and now you can't go to the bathroom there because of different things that were going on that I'm literally not able to discuss over YouTube. They are that bad. So the purpose of the documentary is to essentially shed light on these issues and topics, to shed light on the fact that there is a huge community built around skating in Louisville. And this skate park is such a big deal. Tony Hawk actually visited the skate park. I did ask his team if I could potentially get some kind of interview with them. Unfortunately, they were not able to make that happen. They did wish me luck though, so thanks to Tony Hawk's management team for at least responding. It was very nice to be able to hear back from you guys. I think that the biggest thing with this documentary is the fact that it exposes so many flaws, not just in the city, but in the skate community. You'll have to watch it to know what I mean, but there's a lot of times where people will contradict themselves. There's going to be people that say we should be more unified, we should do more for the community, and then in the same interview they will give excuses and reasons as to why they themselves would not do anything for the community. It's a really interesting dynamic, and I think that this documentary it really shows what it's like to be in Louisville, because that's across the board, but that's, like I said, you got to watch the doc to really understand it. Now, going into a bit of the production details, production was a nightmare. I shot the entire thing by myself. I did all the audio, did all the lighting for the studio portions. Unfortunately, at the time whenever I first started the documentary, I had just gotten my first cinema camera, and I didn't have proper lenses. I just had photo lenses from my old Lumix G85 system. I had bare bones audio, not that, just this little shotgun mic that went on top of the camera. It was not ideal at all. This is the camera that I actually shot the documentary on, and it was in this configuration as well for the most part, except it was mounted to a tripod. The same tripod mounts actually on it. But this is the Zcam E2C with the Lumix G25mm f1.7, I believe. It should be an f1.7. Yes, it is an f1.7. So this lens gives me a really nice color. It gives me a really awesome depth of field. I love the clarity behind it. This lens is a really nice lens. Even though it's a photography lens, it is still, I use it for paid work still. I make money off this lens. It's kind of interesting to use it in a more cinema type of setting, but it did work absolutely beautifully. So I was very grateful for that. And the fact that I was able to get it at such a cheap price as well. I was able to find this camera. You can't actually buy this anymore. The Z-cams are now, I don't know if they're banned or if they're just like heavily taxed or what's going on, but Z-cam isn't shipping new Z-cams to the US, so you can't even buy these anymore. I have the Z-cam E2 S6, and that one's actually confirmed. You can no longer buy that in the US. So that's what I was shooting this video on, is the E2 S6. It's not illegal to own it, of course, but you can't buy them anymore. And you can't send them to centers in China to get them repaired. You have to get them repaired here in the US. And there's not that many repair options in the US, so you just got to really try to not break them. So I just find it really interesting, the history behind Z-cam. But, you know, excluding their history, the skatepark doc was shot primarily on that small camera, and that led to some interesting moments, to say the least. The skaters, there's actually a lack of B-roll throughout the documentary, and one of the reasons why is because even though this camera is so small and so minimal, it's not a Sony Handycam. It's not like the wide angle fisheye lens type of camera. It can be, but it's not the skater's choice of camera. And this is one of the reasons I got frustrated in production. They would not let me record them doing tricks. I've been going to the skate park for 2 years now, probably more than that now that I think about it, and they still will not let me take photos. They will not let me take videos of them skating. I kind of have to sneak it, and sometimes they'll go off on me for it. Sometimes they will walk away. They'll stop skating. I've had entire groups of people get very frustrated with me for just asking if I can record. And I didn't include that in the documentary for the sake, because that person was representing a company. I'm not going to name the company, but that person was representing a company that's also in the documentary in a positive manner, and I didn't want that to kind of interfere with anything because they were representing the company that day, and I already know that that's not how they typically work. So it's just out of professional courtesy that I kind of cut that out. But all the interviews are raw, pretty much. I did not leave out a bit in those interviews. But other than that, I'm sure you guys are wondering when and where you can watch it. It is still doing its festival run currently tomorrow, which is July 9th, 2024. Tomorrow they will be actually sending me an email, Rome Prisma Awards. They will be sending me an email as to whether or not I made it to the finals. But I do know that the Onirus, I don't know how to pronounce the name. I'll have it typed out above, but that's essentially the name of the festival that I was able to submit to, and I did get Best Documentary on there. So I was very, very happy that New York got to show us some love. I had a feeling that New York would absolutely love it because New York is huge in skating. Which is really interesting because Louisville was not as ecstatic about the documentary as I thought they would be, but more on that later. But yeah, the film is finished. It's, like I said, 1 hour and 17 minutes long. It's going right now. It's been uploaded to Film Hub, which is a distribution service, and they did inform me that they will be completing the QC soon, quality control check. And they did tell me what errors they found, and they were kind enough to go ahead and fix it for me. So hopefully soon. I'm just waiting on an email for when it passes QC, and they did confirm that it will. So I'm just waiting for it to pass, and then services will start licensing the movie, and then you guys will be able to watch it on streaming services, whether it's ad supported or which means you get to watch it for free. You do not have to buy or rent it. I did that on purpose. I had the option to make it to where you have to purchase it or rent it to see it. I did have control of that, but I made it available even for free and just supported with ads because I want everyone to be able to see this story. And I think that there's a lot to tell with this. there's so much going on in Louisville, and Louisville is such a complex place with such a complex social structure and power dynamic, and this documentary really highlights that. And so I'm happy to have had the opportunity to be able to, you know, make something that's making a statement that says, hey, here is a problem, here's a potential solution, and here's how people feel about it and how people think about it. And I think that it's very impactful. I think it's powerful being able to do that. Moving forward, there's a couple different projects in the pipeline. I have a short film that I wrote called Religious, which is about a young man who struggles with mental illness, who finds peace and tranquility through Islam. I have another film project, there's no title for it, and this is the first time I'm announcing it, but it's essentially a live-action remake of the original CSGO trailer from 2012. It was inspired by a 3D VFX filmmaker that does all kinds of stuff. I think he goes by Maro, M-A-R-O. His link is down in the description below. Definitely check his stuff out. He makes absolutely amazing stuff. And I really wish I could work with him on that. But yeah, he's definitely done some really interesting stuff. And then I also am going to be working on another feature film called The Split, and I can't go too much into that because I am trying to kind of keep it low-key in some ways. But long story short, it's about a young man with autism who's an accountant, absolutely hates his life, and then he runs into the love of his life. So that's kind of what's on the content pipeline right now. That's kind of what I'm working on, and that's what I'm doing, and I hope to be able to release more content pretty soon in the future here. I just kind of wanted to give you guys an update on what's going on and what's moving forward. And I hope that you guys are excited for the film. I hope that you guys are excited for future content. And just make sure to share the trailer as much as possible. If you've not seen the trailer, it is down in the description below. Make sure to check that out. And I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I will see you guys next time.